Welcome, everyone, to the Nonprofit Leadership Series, a monthly podcast that is hosted by me, Ken Cerini of Cerini and Associates. Each episode features candid conversation with nonprofit leaders who are driving change, tackling challenges, and shaping the future of the sector. This month, we are thrilled to welcome Cynthia Seibold, founder and executive director of Balloon Mission, Inc., an organization dedicated to uplifting communities through creative engagement and inclusive programming. Cynthia joins us to explore a timely and powerful topic, building cross-sector partnerships. From nonprofits and corporations to government agencies, collaboration across sectors is becoming essential to amplify impact and drive sustainable change. Cynthia shares her journey, insights, and strategies for forging meaningful partnerships that align with mission and value, and she offers practical advice for nonprofit leaders looking to do the same. So welcome, Cynthia. Thank you for being part of this. And maybe if you can talk a little bit about the Balloon Mission, a little bit about what you're doing from a partnership perspective.
Thank you so much, Ken, and thank you so much for having me. It really is a privilege to be here. Balloon Mission, as you said, we're an environmental nonprofit that formed to protect animals, people, and the environment from the unintended impact of balloon litter from balloon releases. It's estimated that about over 1 million balloons are intentionally released every year for memorials and celebrations without any oversight or accountability for adding to our plastic pollution problem on land and sea. It takes a long time, many, many years for balloons to break down. And when they do, they just contribute to the micro and nanoplastics, which are in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat. Our mission's motto is summed up in 3 simple words: collect, protect, and preserve. We're getting balloons at the source before they become a problem, thanks to our innovative first ever balloon collection program. Over 70 organizations on Long Island alone have said yes to our program. And in 2.5 years, we've collected over 61,000 pieces of latex and foil balloon materials, proving that people do want sustainable solutions to our pollution problem. We often don't realize how common worrying about the climate crisis is and how badly people want solutions, even for something as seemingly innocent as balloons. So to answer the second part of your question, how have partnerships shaped our work? I would say that the majority of our achievements are a result of the incredible partnerships we've forged. Being new to the nonprofit space, these partnerships have brought mentorship and learning opportunities to help us grow. And like so many nonprofits operating on a limited budget, collaborative, mutually beneficial partnerships help us utilize shared capacity, resources, services, personnel, and volunteers to help realize our mission. Sometimes these are even sponsoring kind partnerships such as libraries that are participating in our program that are providing their own balloon collection bins and signs. They advertise the program, get the message out through email blasts, newsletters, or ad links on websites. Another shared resource, we partner with ACDS, last year's finalist at the Imagine Awards. These are adults with IDD, intellectual and developmental disabilities. There's incredible synergy between our 2 organizations. They've helped us logistically collect those balloons and provide the valuable citizen science data to evidence proof of concept. For them, we provide meaning and purpose with our inspiring program, opportunities for them to get out into the community, be seen, practice life skills, and that sort of thing. We also have amazing partners, 35 libraries, over 20 schools, several municipalities, the Long Island Children's Museum with the incredible Erica Floresca, ReWorld and their lead community affairs specialist. We partner with PSE&G Long Island and recently collaborated on a co-branded brochure on balloon safety and preventing fires and power outages from balloon contact. We're also developing diversified income streams, which I learned through the Nonprofit Resource Hub on how to do that, with partnerships like with our affiliate program with TerraCycle. So we are recycling balloons, and we receive a 10% donation for every box sold. And we also, Erica from Long Island Children's Museum shared their balloon bin design and introduced us to a manufacturer in Brooklyn who is now producing those bins. And we've sold about 10 of them. Again, another diversified income stream, earning about 10% for each box sold. And that's just here on Long Island, Ken. We also work in other states and are building inroads with the balloon industry on creating a nationwide balloon collection and recycling program, and creating a movement for sustainable celebrations. And we also partner and help states who are lobbying for no balloon release legislation. We help with letter writing campaigns, sharing best practices, talking points, and templates for creating policy.
Let's dive a little bit, since the goal here is to talk a bit about building cross-sector partnerships and stuff. So how do you find the relationships and the partners, and how do you know which are the right relationships or which are the right partners to work with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, when we first started, I like to often talk about how you have to think out of the box, or there is no box, right? Because there are so many opportunities out there, and if you're staying within a box, you don't know where to go, right? You're really confined. And it's really incumbent upon us to find those like cross-sector partnerships, those multifaceted and creative solutions that help push forward and help us realize our mission. Um, we want to, we're looking, I think we have to look at a macro level, and we have to constantly be asking questions about how can we get there, who can we bring in, um, who would want to share our message and create positive impact. And when we're talking about the environment, that's something that we could all get behind. And by joining together with businesses, nonprofits, and governments, we're sharing everybody's unique strengths, leadership, and expertise for towards that common goal. Um, you
So
know,
let me just kind of dive in here a second. So when you're talking or looking at um, kind of figure out who a good partner would be, do you pre-identify who you're looking to go after? Do you just um, look to push the message out to see who that message resonates with?
no,
What's
I had at the very beginning, I had targeted, you know, where do we want to go with our mission, right? At a macro level, we want to get in with the balloon industry. We want to partner with the balloon industry because we feel that the onus is on them. There's no extended producer responsibility that makes them accountable for the waste that they're creating. So we want to partner with them to educate the public on responsible celebrations. Take out the words biodegradable and eco-friendly for balloons in their marketing, because that's not the case. We want to create a national collection and recycling program, and we want them to help subsidize it and fund for it. Because we cannot, the balloon industry has innovated. They have now these balloon arches and the garland and all these things and gorgeous color palettes. And so they're booming, and all of this stuff, it's either being intentionally released or it's ending up in a landfill. So we're working to try to create synergy and partnership, working together. And I'll tell you, one of the ways that we did that was research, right? I read Party City's financial statements, and they had an ESG and sustainability report. I read market research and reports so that I could understand the vernacular when that opportunity does come and present itself, that I could speak intelligently on their industry.
Okay. So basically you're looking to partner with an industry where there's a real or perceived issue, well, real issue, and looking to bring about social change through partnering.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, in terms of that, and sorry, just when I have a conversation, I have a conversation. What are you
Yes.
doing in terms of, I mean, I would think that, there's the messaging getting to the manufacturers of the balloons and stuff like that, and maybe the distribution companies, but how is that information then finding its way down to the consumer who's buying the balloons and who's ultimately then releasing those balloons? And to what extent does there have to be or should be some sort of safety label that goes with the balloons in the form of a flyer or something like that that gets distributed?
I just love these conversations, because you get it, right? So
Mhm.
there's two things there's several things happening at work, and what I like to say is, like, Balloon Mission is at the hub, right? So you have your manufacturers and your suppliers on one section. Then you have your uh, event planners, your decorators, your artists who are buying from them, correct? And then, so what we're trying to do, ideally, the vision is to bring along these event decorators who are dealing with the customers, right?
Mhm.
We're going to give them, so we're actually working on a balloon mission certification program for the balloon decorators and balloon sellers, who are selling to the public, where these are eco-conscious balloon decorators who are understanding, and believe it or not, it's these millennials, this new generation who is really in touch with our climate crisis. And I have balloon decorators who are looking for balloon recycling online. They're Googling and they're finding Balloon Mission, and they're coming to us and saying, we want to be sustainable. If I'm putting together this business, then I don't want to be creating waste out in the environment. And I found your program and I want to work with you to create that. So we create like a balloon seller tag that goes out with every purchase. And it has a QR code of where you could find a balloon bin, right? And safely dispose of your balloons or bring it back to that balloon decorator. And on the tag, it not only does it have a QR code, it's got a little rhyme that says, save the earth and show you care. Balloons can't land just anywhere. When all the air is gone within, pop and drop in our balloon bin. And so it brings repeat customers back to that balloon decorator or the balloon retailer. It's empowering stewardship, creating a new movement, and socially diffusing this message of responsible celebrations. And so we're in the process right now of developing a survey for the balloon decorators and artists and retailers, where we're determining who are those eco-conscious um, businesses. And then we're going to start a letter writing campaign to the manufacturers and suppliers, telling them, or looking for a subsidized recycling program. Now, that's one way we are addressing this challenge. The other way is, we created, Balloon Mission has I want to say, a backdoor partnership. Not even backdoor. It's not even as it's we have been talking with Party City's former executive director of sustainability in North America. She was in a bifurcated role at Party City, and as she also sits in the Coalition for Responsible Celebrations, whose members include all the manufacturers, all the wholesalers. And so we speak twice a month. We've been talking for over a year and a half, twice a month, about all of these issues. And one of the ways this created, and this is in my research, um, they're facing an issue, the balloon industry. California passed a law that said you cannot sell foil balloons in the state. And the reason why is because foil balloons can conduct electricity, spark fires, and power outages. And with the wildfire situation in California, Governor Newsom was like, we can't have this. And so this was a bit of a wake up call for the balloon industry because that cuts right into their profit margin, and they can't have other states fall in line with California. So that was the perfect opportunity for us to come in and say, respectfully, we want to have a conversation. We want to meet with you, the environmentalists, with the balloon industry, and we're supposed to be mortal enemies, right? Down with balloons. No, no. But we're meeting in the middle, and we're saying we want to have a thoughtful conversation. You have a problem. You have a state that just passed a no balloon sales. We should join together and work on legislation to ban intentional balloon releases instead of sales. We want to help you educate the public on responsible celebrations. We want to help you start a collection program. We're doing it already. We've collected 61,000 balloon materials from all over Long Island. We have balloon bins in other states. We have balloon sellers who are coming to us and saying we are looking for those sustainable solutions. So this is a real good partnership. Let's do this together. And they're on board with it. And it is one of our biggest successes. Well, we have a lot of successes. That's a big one at a macro level.
One of the things I want to make sure that people understand, and maybe it's good if you actually talk a little bit about the size of your organization, because I mean, you're this really small organization and you're tackling a really big problem, so I just want to make it clear that small organizations can make big differences. And how did you go about kind of getting a seat at the table here in some of these places?
I think I've been told that my passion, heart, and grit have got me a seat at the table. We have no money. My mom passed away from COVID at the start in March of 2020, and a little bit of the money that she left. And it took me a couple of years to find this mission and to see that this was a problem and that I actually had a solution for it. But that little bit of money got the website started, got, the articles of incorporation, it was the funding to get us off the ground. We operate on probably about $4,000 a year. And it's no salaries are taken. Everything is volunteer. We have our volunteers at ACDS who are, and Mary Haven Center of Hope and Yapank who do our balloon collections. We do everything with no money. We figure out the resources and who could partner with us. We fall and beg and ask people to sponsor balloon bins, and help get the message out. And people have responded. It's partnerships like the Long Island Children's Museum and Erica Floresca who have, 300,000 people walk through their doors and are seeing our balloon bins there. Balloon bins that were designed and created by the museum and then shared, and now we're selling that design. Like the cross collaboration and the partnership, you can realize a vision with strategic partners, cross section partners. For example, cross section, when we talk about governments and corporations and all that, when we first started, and I'm thinking out of the box, there is no box. I went to the town of Hempstead's commissioner of sanitation because I'm like, okay, well, I need to do a feasibility study. Can we collect balloons? Then what am I doing with all these balloons? Where can they go? So I went to the town of Hempstead because that's where I live. And the commissioner of sanitation brought me to ReWorld. And I learned all about ReWorld. And I have to tell you that I have to poke holes in my own balloons to make sure that nobody's going to wag their finger at me and go, Sin, what were you thinking? And people still do. I still have hardcore environmentalists who are like, we just have to get rid of balloons entirely. And I'm like, well, it's a $1 billion industry. Good luck with that. People love their balloons, and there's a reason why balloons are so successful. There's a psychological reason. It's research, research, research. I had to research ReWorld and know whether or not that this was a good fit for my environmental
You,
organization.
you want to do a 2 second on what ReWorld is?
2 second. So ReWorld is a solid waste to energy solution here on Long Island. About 55%, maybe less, of our waste here goes to ReWorld. And so it's a clean energy. It's certified by the EPA. Most of our other trash or waste gets trucked off of Long Island. I have to tell you, Ken, if I was living in Pennsylvania, I don't want New York's trash. We have a problem in our society. We consume too much. We have obsolescence. There is no thought. Like, this is another problem of making sure that we're educating the public on reduce, reuse, refuse, recycle. There we have overconsumption, and balloons is just one piece of the problem. And so I'm taking on and solving for balloons. Somebody else is taking plastic bags. Somebody else could take cigarette butts. Somebody else can take organics and composting. We all need to work together
Well, the other
to
big issue is clothing.
clothing, obsolescence right there. Do you need the next new t-shirt for the fall? No. Do you need it for the spring or your summer? I mean, bathing suits, we need to, but everything else, sweater is going to last you a while. Sweaters.
So one of the things you talked about is, being a good partner and basically bringing to the table ideas that create a two-way street for your
Correct.
partners. You talked about, in essence, that the partnership could lead to more business as consumers understand that the businesses they're working with are socially responsible and stuff. You want to talk a little bit more about that two-way street component of developing these partnerships?
Yes. And that's, I think that's the heart of our success, is making sure that, what when these balloon decorators that are coming to us, we're providing them with something to help their business grow in a very sustainable way, right? Not only, we're going to provide a certified seal that they can proudly display on if they have a brick and mortar storefront. If they could put it on their brochures, they could put it on their window, they can put it on their website. We're going to have a dedicated page on our website once we roll this out that is just for balloon sellers. Similarly, we have a dedicated page right now for libraries. We have over 30 libraries in our program. I think we're closing in on 35. And we just partnered with the Sustainable Libraries Initiative. which is a nationwide program. I'm super excited about this. It's a nationwide program that is helping libraries to be sustainably certified, whether it's switching out your light bulbs to LED, whether it's recycling out of print books, or sponsoring collection programs, batteries, plastics, balloons. And so we just became partners. The Sustainable Libraries Initiative started here in Suffolk County, but it's nationwide. And so we're going to be featured on their website as an idea for your sustainable library, which will bring people to our website because the links will go both ways.
Mhm.
It'll bring us to our library page and all the libraries that have been part of our program. It will walk them through how to get bins, how to recycle with TerraCycle, how to oh gosh, craft programs, things to get and empower stewardship. Our libraries are the hub of our community. We identified schools, libraries, and the party sector as our three top areas where we wanted to hit and create a movement of change. We also have a video coming out. We're working on a memorial video because you see these memorial balloon releases all the time. And Tommy DeMisa, we did the his philanthropy in focus a while back, and we were talking about this, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, because I said we're modernizing the tradition around balloon releases." He's like, "Oh yeah, like we did with rice, tossing rice at weddings." I'm like, "Exactly, bingo." As that tradition dated back to Roman times to wish the bride and groom good luck. And we did that based on a false rumor to
I
protect the
thought it was I
birds.
thought it was in case their cell phones got wet.
No. So we're changing and moving to eco-friendly alternatives to balloon releases. So we promote bubbles over balloons, and we have a production company in Virginia who is donating their time, and so we're creating a bubble memorial video showing bubbles being released up into the sky. We're blowing our good thoughts and kisses up to heaven because we know that balloons don't go to heaven, and yet people are writing their notes, they're tying it onto the balloon, or they're writing directly onto the balloon. It is the only product that's manufactured to deliberately become sky trash.
So let's talk about maybe some of and we're kind of running low on time, but what are some of the
Sorry.
biggest challenges you face building a sustainable partnership across sectors and how do you overcome it?
The I want to say that the biggest challenge had been the balloon industry, right? Because it was you have this natural barrier as we talked about earlier, um, where the environmentalists, they're the balloon industry. How on earth could you possibly meet in the middle? And basically, we just I think what you know we talk about how do you find your partners. I think a lot of it is not only just thinking out of the box or there is no box, it's creating those opportunities, right? It's looking for where they could possibly be, always being open, keeping your brain open to it. I walked into Party City on a grand opening and the district manager was there. And this takes courage sometimes because it's a busy, it's grand opening, there's so much happening. And yet I went up, I have nothing to lose. I went up, introduced myself. You have your 2-minute elevator pitch, you bring it out of your pocket, you start and you go. And he introduced me to the global Party City director of North America, who then moved and introduced me to the ESG and Sustainability Director of North America. And here we are, but I really think those strategies, the thing that you have is you have to be able to listen. You have to make it personal. Like when I first met Maria, um, we talked about how difficult this could be. And I explained to her, listen, I was the executive underwriter for the NHL and the NBA. You can't get more challenging than going back to them and going, we need a huge rate increase this year, and getting millions of dollars and then coming back out of it, and we're still friends. We still go out for lunch. We still go out for dinner. We've kind of lost that social networking, but I still try to make it happen. Even, she sits in Minneapolis, I'm here in New York. We take a few minutes at the beginning of our calls. How are the boys? What's going on? They're going off to college. How wonderful. You have to be relatable. You have to be able to meet people where they are in order for us to have these difficult conversations sometimes. I got the CRC, and I don't want to like publicly say that I did this, but repeated conversations about why you can't use the words biodegradable based on the research that's out there. You have to come with facts. You have to not be emotional. I had somebody from North Carolina who was like, ranting and raving about balloons and why they have to get, and I'm like, you have to take the emotion out of the conversation. This is thoughtful, respectful. They're in this business to make money. How could we do that? How could we still have you make money and still put people, planet, and purpose into your business model?
Okay, so since we're out of time, in 30 seconds or less, what advice would you give nonprofit leaders who want to start to strengthen cross-sector partnerships?
I would say be creative, be open. I think the onus is on nonprofits to manifest their own opportunities. Sometimes it's cold calling. Sometimes it'll be networking events like the Nonprofit Resource Hub. Sometimes it's supporting other nonprofits and collaborating. The more exposure you have, the greater way you can cast your net.
Awesome. So thank you, Cynthia, for being part of this. This was amazing. And thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of the Cerini Associates Nonprofit Leadership Series. If you enjoyed today's conversation and want to hear more insights from nonprofit changemakers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your network. You can find us on your favorite podcast platforms, and be sure to follow Cerini Associates for updates on future episodes, resources, and events that support the nonprofit sector. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and keep building bridges that make a difference. Stay connected. Thank you, everyone.